Chandra Nandini update on Wednesday 7th July episode 5-6 on Atinka TV. Chandra enters Pataliputra, Mora sees moon shining bright and smiles at it in tears and remembers it shines similarly during Chandra's birth and says, Chandra, I know I will see you soon, and you will return for her mother. Chandra says, Pashyala in here to fulfill my dreams. Nandini says to Moon, I don't like you, plz go. Charnakya and his disciples enter Pataliputra. Charnakya says, this is Magad, I was born here. Subhadra says, Acharya, are you sure he will come? Charnakya says yes he will and enters his friend. You didn't accept Padmanand plz offer and now I have the whole working in my hand. Charnakya says, my knowledge does and allow me to do it. You want her future and I want Bharat's future and I want to see her king, can you get me a permit? He says yes I will, but he won't see you, he hates Brahmins. Charnakya says that my issue, just get me one permit. Padmanand says, more I can see you this way. Today is my daughter's day and I very happy and see I got you new clothes, jewelry. Say yes to me, and you will be Magad so queen. Say yes Mora. Mora smiles and says, these clothes are so beautiful and soft but they will hurt me because this has Magad's people pain. Mora insults Padmanand, and he gets very angry and drags Mora and throws her in front of soldiers and says, tie her in town and hit her. Dare she talks to me this way? Mora is dragged by soldiers. Mora says, my son will come and take revenge of every single pain you gave me and his father's death revenge. He will come and just wait and watch. Chandra enters Pataliputra market, and he feels very insecure and walks around in market. He sees people being tortured and an old man being hit for Nandini Day taxes. Chandra sees it and gets very angry. He thinks, how bad is this king who tortures his own people? Soldiers get Mora tied and says, this is Mora whose husband killed our king. Hit her. And people around and soldiers start hitting her. Chandra steps in and says, stop, don't hit her. Chandra looks into Mora's eyes and help her stand. Mora asks, who are you? Go, run away, they will hit you. A soldier apt to it. Chandra holds his hand. Soldier announces everyone to move aside. Nandini is to pass by on her cart. Nandini passes in her cart. Chandra thinks here people are hit, but the princess here is all in gold. Chandra is not allowed to enter the kingdom. He says, Amartya Rakshas gave me. Soldiers say you stole it. Chandra says, go and ask him if you didn't believe. Charnakya sees this and says, what a brave child. Padmanand puts Nandini on a way balance and asks Praja to keep their gifts on the other side. Chandra, on behalf to old man, keeps the Nandini coin. Mora says, oh, this is the same child. Padmanand asks, where did you get this from? Amartya Rakshas says, I gave him, he is so brave so I gave him. Chandra says, I have to tell you something, apt people and their torture you don't know. Padmanand says, take Nandini inside and then asks Chandra to speak. Chandra says, people are tortured here. Poor lady was hit in middle of market. Padmanand says, they do it on my order. Run as fast as you can. I don't want need to kill you as today is my daughter's day. Chandra says, what if her soldiers can catch me? If they don't catch me, you have to return this gold taken from Praja. Padmanand thinks, if I disagree people will think I a coward, and it costs it. North says, go run, you have 5 minutes. Chandra wins the game and says, give the gold back. Padmanand says, this was a game of entertainment for me and so no returns go. Chandra gets angry and leaves. Charnakya watching all this and says, this child has so much bravery, there's something special in him. Charnakya without permission sees Padmanand and says, Bharat and Magad is in danger. Foreign invader Sikandar is on his way. With help of my pain we can save our city. Padmanand asks, who are you? Charnakya says, I from Takshashila. Padmanand says, you will tell me a king how to work. Charnakya says, I not joking, Magad is in danger. Padmanand insults him and says, so a joker, and throws gold coins on him and then kicks him out and says, take these and get out. Charnakya says, even Raven's ego had to loosen and even her ego will lose. Padmanand says, throw him out. Charnakya says, you have invited Magad's danger. Someday you will fall in my feet begging for life and I will not tie my hair till they see her blood. This is a Brahman's swear. Charnakya is thrown out of the kingdom. Charnakya in forest angry and hurt. He is injured. He sees a wind animal apt to attack him. Charnakya apt to being attacked. Chandra steps in and fights with the animal. Charnakya says son stop, don't fight, but Chandra keeps fighting and defeats the animal. The animal runs away. Charnakya says you would have died. Chandra says I did this to save you. Here food, come let's have it. Charnakya says this is too less you ate. It will fill our stomach. Chandra says we will share it. Charnakya says I see a king in you. Bhartma Charnakya saw the king in Chandra he never saw in Padmanand, and they together were to fight for my glory. Chandra is hit by his Baba for not getting more coins and says I have spent so much on this boy who will return me that money. Ma tries to stop him. Charnakya walks in and says I will pay you, I will buy her boy, and Charnakya pays all the money he has. Ma tries to stop him and says Chandra, don't you love her Ma? Chandra says Ma, I don't like this love. Keep this money and Baba won't hurt you anymore, and says to Baba, there you hit my Ma. I will kill you if you touch her. And Acharya, tell me what can I do for you? Charnakya says you have to what you just said, and that is keep love away from you and her heart away from her brains, and says from today I her everything and her aim is Magad kingdom, her body and my knowledge, and we will change Magad and her heart. SHD never overcome her actions, and Katalyanity taught to you by me will invent new Bharti. Charnakya and Chandra will be one from today. Amartya Rakshas teaching Prince of Magad archery and Padmanand watching him act. Nandini aims the bullseye. Padmanand gets very happy and says see Amartya, my daughter will rule over Bharat. She is more intelligent than my son and so you will teach her too. Amartya says sorry my principal, don't allow me to. Padmanand says I will kill you if you say no. Padmanand says for my Nandini I her everything and so I will teach her, and walks away with her. Nandini takes Padmanand's blessings and says you are my guru now. Charnakya to Chandra, value knowledge before everything, even before love. Nandini says Pita Madharao, for me love is everything, and with this love I will rule over Bharat. Bharat, Chandra and Nandini were unaware that soon their respective thoughts were going to unite. Nandini defeats Padmanand, and so does Chandra defeats Charnakya. Charnakya says good aim, but USHD aim the heart and so attack, and says now you have to walk on these lotus leaves over water, go practice. Chandra starts practicing and says this is so impossible. Charnakya throws stone and says see a drown BCO this DOES and have speed, and then throws a stone in speed and it dances over water and passes the bank. Charnakya says be like this stone until you master this you won't sleep. Remember speed is very important, and for a warrior speed matters a lot. A grown-up Chandra sees Magad soldiers torturing Praja and steps in and fights them. While doing so he makes one weapon of all the soldiers, javelin, and fights them. Chandra frees trapezoid people, they thank Chandra. Chandra hears footsteps approaching them and takes swords and keeps at the person's neck. Charnakya is informed about Chandra and his act. Chandra says I thought he is soldier, but I stoked when I realize it is Malika too. Charnakya slaps Chandra and says why didn't you kill, and says you I asked you to be with Chandra but you went after him like a coward, and Chandra I sent you to save Adivasi. You did save him, but Malika too tried to take credit and so he is punished today and he will get no food. Chandra having food with other students, his maid who is prince says I won't leave you alone. He receives a love letter from princess and says see I get letters but this Chandra, when I go back whole army will be in my foot and Chandra will have no one. Malika too made Chandra's friends ask him don't you fall for women? Chandra says love, I hate this word and never fall for it. Nandini hears her sister-in-laws talk at her wedding and runs in angers away from castle. Soldiers and servants run behind her to stop her. Nandini runs and jumps into a well. Padmanand is informed about Nandini jumping into well after hearing about wedding. Padmanand says shut up, how dare you say this about my daughter, she will never do such thing, I can live without her, and sees her in front all wet. Nandini smiles. Padmanand hugs her and says why did you jump? Nandini says Pita Shri I jumped in water to save a lamb. Padmanand says why did you do so, and that to save a lamb? Nandini shows tamarind and says I went to get you these. Padmanand gets very happy and says this is my daughter, she loves her father a lot. Nandini says to her, "Baby, I will never marry, I will stay with my father." Baby says, "Never, you have to marry." Nandini says, "To marry I have to love someone more than my father, and that not possible." Chandra says, "If ever I marry, that decision will be from brain and not heart." Nandini says, "Marriage decision will be taken from my heart, after all it love." Pre-cap, Nandini says to Padmanand, "If you wish I will marry, but on one condition, the man has to defeat Dharmabhaya swords."